It was a truly magical moment today when Rohit Sharma looked down at the pitch after he was dismissed. It's the magic of Rohit Sharma. He can make an incredible 100 and still make you laugh a little bit, and maybe make you angry. He's an emotional man. He's a man that gives you emotions rather than being an emotional man himself. He's just funny sometimes, and he's great. And I don't understand how anyone can not be entertained by him. Yes, you could be frustrated. You could be upset at times. He's an entertainer all the way through the end. As he looked down at the pitch and he thought to himself, what just happened there? As I just played a stupid shot with the first ball of the second new ball. But here's the thing. He did make 100 today, and it was an absolutely brilliant knock. Sure, the pitch had flattened out, but the way he played it, the way he paced it, the way he worked against some interesting England fields at times, some very good bowling, even if the pitch wasn't always helping them. At other times, the way he went after Moeen Ali, I find it very hard to think that Rohit Sharma is not the best batter that India have had on this tour. And, well, you know, so far the numbers are kind of backing that up completely. He's looked brilliant. And who really would have thought that Rohit Sharma would have come as a makeshift opener to England, still learning his way as an opener, especially overseas, and been this good in England? Even if he just played some of the knocks that he's played early on, where he's got his eye in, you would have said, this guy's doing really well. But to then go on and play the innings he's done today, and to completely change the shape of this game, incredible inning. There is a little bit about his opening that, especially before today, I thought there was a little bit of Shane Watson about him. You know, he's not an opener. He's batted down the order quite a bit in his career. He's basically opening because he's talented and they're trying to fit him into the lineup. And that's the spot that was available, and he's working it out as he goes. And that's why his overseas record hasn't quite matched what he's done so far in the home. And there's a little bit about Shane Watson too, where Shane Watson would be really good against the new ball, which is, to be fair, the hard bit and the bit that you have to be good at for opening the batting. They couldn't always go on and do something truly magical. I was wondering if Rohit might be a bit like that when he travelled away from home. Well, you know, it didn't look like that out here today, did it? It looked like someone who completely understood his role. And sure, I think so part of that was helped by the fact that he went up against Moeen Ali. I think he prefers the ability to hit out against the spinner. At one stage, you know, up until the 70th over, I think it was, he was scoring at double the rate against Moeen Ali than he was against the seam bowler. So he certainly enjoys that. But I think he's just matured a little bit and he's batting a little bit differently. And I thought it was a wonderfully well-paced knock for someone who sometimes seems to get a little bit stuck and bored. And by bored, I don't mean effortless. You know, he is very upset about this, about people saying that his runs are effortless and when he goes out, it's a big disappointment. That's not the case. You can talk to David Gower or any elegant batter and they will tell you the same thing. They're trying just as hard as everyone else. It just looks better. That's not their fault. And that comes both ways. It means that we think Rohit Sharma is even better than he has been. And when he goes out, we're like, how dare you? How dare you look that good and go out? If you're going to go out, at least be scratchy for a little while beforehand. And that's not always been Rohit Sharma's way. It's not his fault. That's just how he looks and that's our perception. And of course, this has led to, you know, No-Hit Sharma as one of the nicknames. And there are many memes out there. There must be a lot of people watching that innings today and thinking to themselves, how many bad things have I said about Rohit Sharma that online, to friends, to families, to random tuk-tuk drivers, to, you know, people I meet in a bar. People have been saying bad things about Rohit Sharma his whole career, and he just sort of shrugs his shoulders and continues to play incredible pull shots. That is the man. And he did play one of those incredible pull shots today. It's just, when he plays it, it's visceral, isn't it? You feel a little bit. It feels good. And it wasn't just a pull shot, was it? That six into the pavilion. I mean, there's something about him making his first overseas Test 100 and doing it by taking Moeen Ali from outside off stump and dumping him into the members. It's again, everything that Rohit does is so incredibly Rohit. He is 100% himself at all times in every single way, in good and bad. And you know how well you're batting when the opposition at home in 1-1 in the series suddenly comes up with this fielding plan. I mean, this is a piece of work here. They were trying everything. I'm not really sure what was going on there. They just sort of hoped they would bowl short and get him out. Weirdly, they did bowl short and get him out because, again, Rohit gets bored. Rohit's going to be Rohit. Rohit going to Rohit. You know what I mean? And he does go out to the short ball a lot. But is it a problem when you've already made 100? I mean, it's less of a problem, but it's clearly going to come back. But it's clearly going to be something that's going to happen to Rohit Sharma a lot, especially after this series, because now everyone's seen this. In fact, you're seeing it because I'm now getting the producer to play it again. He goes out to the short ball and If anything, England probably underbowled the short ball beforehand. But that weird field that I mentioned before, when he had this field, Craig Overton, I think, bowled 18 balls, pitched outside leg stump, short, in at the body, everywhere from the hip up to the nipple, really. Well, actually, probably beyond the nipple. A couple of actual bounces were in there as well. And at one stage, Rohit Sharma, who was batting in a normal position, suddenly just moved himself to the side and played a back foot off drive from a ball that was going to miss leg stump by a foot. That is next level batting. That is an absolute genius at work. Sometimes when you see him play a shot like that and you think, God, he's 34 and this is his first overseas Test 100. And sure, it's hard to break into the Indian team. And where did he fit in the middle order? And I get all those sorts of things. But oh my God, he's good. Oh my God, he's good. And you can't help but think he's that good. And then he gets dismissed. And isn't it incredibly peak Rohit to be dismissed playing a pull shot off the first ball of the second new ball, looking down at the pitch, being upset, and of course starting a mini collapse or it feels like England's about to get on top. Even when he makes 100, he gives something back to the other side. There's a real yin and yang about Rohit Sharma. He's beautiful and then he's frustrating. He's talented and then he's disastrous. He plays the best pull shots you've ever seen and then he goes out playing one. He's Rohit Sharma, perhaps the most entertaining cricketer for good and bad.